Welcome to TCP. My name is Tag, and joining me is none other than my co-hosts, my compadres, my best friends and brothers, the founding members of Three's Company podcast, Joseph Bluen and Tate Flack. How you guys doing?
Hello. Doing great. How are you?
Good.
All right. I'm so excited to get this first episode underway. This has been in the works for a long time.
This has at least been in discussion for years. As far as in the works, we've been trying to get it along. But yeah, as far as discussion, this has been a
definitely for discussion, because we've done so much, whether it was playing video games and recording a podcast or something, but not actually having it recorded. We would still talk like we were hosting a podcast. So
many 3 a.m. nights have gone into this podcast.
Oh yeah,
a Rocket League podcast. Yep.
Oh yeah. So we are definitely ready for this. For those of you that don't know, Tate recently enlisted in the Air Force, and Joey is attending Liberty University in Virginia.
That's right. Lynchburg, Virginia. Not a big city, but here, I like it. It's a good place to be.
All right.
Awesome.
And just first, for our first podcast here with Three's Company podcast, I want to go back a little bit. For anyone tuning in or listening, let's talk about how it all started. Specifically how you two met and how our dynamic of the three of us worked and evolved from there.
Yeah, that's a story and a half. Tate, we met all the way back in 3rd grade.
Yep.
So how old were we? 8? So, how old are you in 3rd grade?
Bro, I never know that.
8?
People will ask me, and they'll be I don't know how old I was. I was in 4th grade, or I was in 7th grade.
If you go into kindergarten at 5, kindergarten 5, 1st grade 6, 8. So we're 8. We're both 19 now. So over 10 years we've known each other.
Over 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah, Tate, where did we first meet? Do you remember?
It was Sam Mercer's birthday party or something.
Shout out Sam Mercer.
Wait,
from New Zealand.
No way. That's when you two first met each other?
That was our first time ever meeting.
I went to the party because you were going Tag, and you invited
Bro,
me
I didn't
or something.
even know that. So literally you two meeting has because I went to Sam Mercer's birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I got invited too because I knew Sam a little bit.
Bro, was that the one where there was the trampoline and were they goats? All the baby goats?
No, I don't remember goats.
You don't remember goats?
We played. So Tate and I were the youngest 2 kids there because Tag, you're
because then we went and played basketball, right?
That's what we did. Tate and I, we were the youngest 2, so you guys made us play 1-on-1 for basketball because we were the same age, and then that's how we met.
Dang, no way.
Yeah.
I promise there's baby goats there.
I don't remember goats.
Okay, well.
So, I only remember basketball and Tate.
That's actually crazy. I didn't know that was the first time.
All the way back. But Tate, had you been going to Bethel at that point? Had we met in school yet, or you was later? Was he a summer birthday or something? Or
I think it was summer because I know I homeschooled the first year we came into Reading. And then
you did?
Yeah, Zoe and I homeschooled while you and Kia went to...
Tate didn't come till 3rd grade at Bethel.
No way.
So that's when, once he came to school, we met there. But we didn't even really... I don't remember hanging out or talking much until maybe midway through. Then we became buddies.
Wow, okay. I didn't even know you homeschooled the first year. Because I had homeschooled, my whole life up until moving. But as soon as we moved to Reading, I was at Bethel. 4th grade, I went to school.
Yeah, so Zoe and I homeschooled, and then that next year, we all went to Bethel.
Wow.
We're Miss Hale's 3rd grade class.
Yeah, shout out Miss Hale. Wonderful lady. The big year. That was a year a ton of people came to that school. Particularly, we had a bunch of new kids, so it was me and this big group of friends. And then that year, a ton of new friends came. So that's when I met Mass, you, Tate, Tag. So Tag, had you? I feel I knew you prior to this, Tag.
You feel like you knew me prior to it or not?
Prior to Sam's birthday party, I felt like I knew you.
Were you? Because at this point, so what grade was this in? Your 3rd grade?
Yeah.
So would this be 5th grade for me or 4th grade for me?
You're 2 up from us. So either I came in 2nd grade to your.
So then I had been there a whole year. If I've been there a whole year, I'm already close with the Valentins. Had you had a prior relationship with the Valentin family?
Yeah, because I've known Lyde since I went to preschool and kindergarten there, and Elijah's been there since forever.
So that would have had to been it. We had to have been mutually acquainted with each other because of our friendship with Elijah. Mm-hmm. So that's we probably weren't that close. That's probably how we somehow knew of each other.
Yeah, you were. Everybody there was 2 grades older than me. I was the youngest kid there. So like the fact that Tate was there, that's I think one reason we connected.
And you were friends with Sam, or how did you end up getting there?
It was Sam invited me. I remember that. It was from, I think, just recess, and then I knew him from church. I don't remember why I was there.
Okay. Well,
there I was.
Well, we're glad you came, because look at what happened here, and that Tate tagged along too. So however that ended up happening, it's brought fruit forth. So I guess shout out to Sam Mercer too.
He probably has no idea what he did.
I know. Yeah. That's wild.
You were always hanging out with people like Elijah's grade and all that.
Yeah, I've been ever since I knew Elijah. I've been very connected to your grade, Tag. Like I used to hang out with you, Tag, Clayton. Clayton and I were good buddies for a while. Like Levi Peterson, I went to his house a bunch.
Oh, Levi's a dude.
Yeah, I got the dog.
Oh, yeah.
All those cats. So I've been connected with them and then I always in 5th grade I went up a grade in math. So I went to 6th grade math. And then your class was full of idiots. So Elijah came down.
Yeah, I remember that.
Noah came down a grade. Levi came down a grade. So like a bunch of the kids from your grade, we all met there because I came up and met.
That's right. Because they were all in like the help math class or whatever, and Joey bumped up, so he was there.
With Miss Cambron as our teacher.
Bro, there's some wild stories with our class
that came out of her.
Bro, that's wild. There's so much stuff that happened at that school.
Yeah, that was a crazy time.
That was wild.
Yeah. But now it's... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I can't even recall, like, how many stories. Like, I could fire them off, like, one after another of crazy stuff. Like, for Elisha Kim, you guys remember this story?
Yeah.
So we're all talking, and for some reason, she keeps calling him out to be quiet. Like, Elisha, calm down. And he's like... And Elijah's talking, I'm talking, like no one else is paying attention. And then so he chimes in like one more time, and she's like, Elisha. And he gets mad. He has his backpack, stands up and throws it, and it crashes into the computers. Like, and she's like, Elisha. And then he's like, I'm sorry, my arm had a spasm. And she's like, oh, okay. Totally cool. Off the hook. Like, could have totally broke these computers, and his arm having a spasm was like, that was an acceptable response.
One of my favorite times from that math class is on Valentine's Day. Levi Peterson brought in chocolates for Miss Cambron, and he'd already been hinting at it all year that he had a crush on her, and he'd always call her pretty and stuff. And so when he brought her in chocolates, I died. It was so
crazy.
So now we're 19. Tag, you're 21.
21. I just had my birthday.
Happy birthday! Congratulations.
It was like a week ago.
We're all still friends now.
Oh yeah, still friends.
Still kicking.
That's crazy to go back though and think about like school. So, for example, high school, right? Like I have so many crazy stories about high school, like years. Obviously, it's 4 years of your life. But I have so much to look back on and be proud of. And the weirdest thing happened because, I went on a date like a little bit ago. And when I went on this date, like no joke, she's 19. So she's not that much younger than me. But and I was 20 at the time. She had mentioned like going through high school with COVID. And I was like, whoa. Like, that was it made me feel like she was so young because I know Zoe, my little sister, is experiencing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so to think that someone's high school experience is no sports, no dances, like not even in-person classes, like to me
masks.
That felt like, you know how people joke about like, oh, were you a 90s kid? Or whatever, and that's like a differentiation that they've made, like you were born prior to 2000 or not. It was like, were you pre or post COVID high school? Like,
true, yeah.
because it's a different world.
It'll definitely be a defining like range for history, like a post this era on.
Oh yeah, completely different experience. Because even, like, not that everyone plays sports in high school, but if you do play sports in high school, there's so much stuff that COVID didn't allow. Like football camp, like we would go to football camp and there would be our entire team, like JV and varsity, we would all be there camping out, and then there would be 9 other schools or something. Like Shasta would be there, Foothill was there, Corning was there, Wairika was there. Like anybody you could think of was all at this massive football group. And you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
They don't even have football games.
No fans. That's like at Liberty now, where I go to school. They just started letting fans in this season. So like a few games last season, we could go watch the football team, but it's 6 feet apart. It's you wear your mask. It's a totally different game when you like are. There's like maybe 1,000 people compared to like 30,000 people. It's insane.
The atmosphere's got to be different too. Like you always hear about like who's the loudest stadium and like everything to be in there. It's the same as a concert. You know? So I'd say like you can hear the music or you can watch it on TV. And granted, sometimes you don't have to pay for that or whatever, and it can be a really good experience. You can eat at the same time, have friends over, whatever. But like the difference between going to a concert and being in that atmosphere and hearing them, and like everything that's around you, whether there's mosh pits or whatever, and like listening to them on Spotify.
Oh, it's night and day.
Oh yeah, night and day. Like
night and day difference. Yeah, it's crazy. Over it. I'm ready for it to be done.
It is slowly on the mend. Hopefully, like knock on wood, you know, because Hawaii for one was very, very like strict with their rule set, and they've now opened it up to 10 people groups. Like you can have a group of up to 10 people. So granted that might be a lot more strict than what you might be going through at like your college campus or whatever. Yeah. But that's miles from where we were at when it was like you would get fined for like being with someone. Like, is this a part of your immediate family group? No, like that wasn't acceptable. You know what I mean?
That's so crazy and like stupid because like I went to an NC State football game last fall and there's like maybe 5,000 people packed in the one section of the student section, just losing our minds without masks. And then there's you in Hawaii who can't even hang out with someone outside of their family, and I'm just doing it. It's like the difference between states was 100% insane.
Even regions and states, like up in Reading, we probably didn't have masks on until like last summer or later, and you would only have one on if you're like going to the store. Other than that, no one had them on.
Well, and I want to inquire, I guess. I've been watching movies, like that's something I'm huge into. Like I watch so many movies, and I like to think that I'm like a movie critic or whatever. So it hasn't changed for me, but I'd say a lot of people have actually came to me and told me like, I watched a movie or I went out to the movie theater because those have just started opening back up, and they were like, in seeing a film where there was groups of people and none of them had masks on, like I was like, where's everyone's masks? Like they thought that. And I guess for me, I had never thought that because I've been continuously, especially with COVID and nothing to do, I've been watching a lot of the movies and going back and trying to like, I don't know, you could say refine my palate. But really going over that. Have either of you experienced anything like that? Where like there's a commercial and they don't have a mask on, or there's a movie and they don't have a mask on, and you actually thought differently about it?
I have, yeah. I don't like it. Like it's weird. It's only happened a few times, not recently because now I'm like I could care less and it's like normal. But at the beginning, it was like, yeah, when I'd watch a movie, I'd be like, where's their mask? Or I'll see like a social setting and I'll be like, they're too close, or like, and I hate it. I hate that that's where my mind is because like it's so garbage. But like when you start watching The Office again, I'm like, this would never be allowed during these times. Like Michael just kissed a guy in the office. Like he just as a boss, he just broke all policy. But yeah, I don't like that I think that way. It makes me sad.
Yeah, that's crazy because I, for the first time, saw a YouTube ad for a car company. And, like, there may have been 2 people in the commercial, but, like, it was a standard car ad. You know, like, there's not groups of people or whatever, but they had masks on. And I forget which one it was, but that one actually was like, whoa. Like, I recognized that, and I was like, that's wild. Like, our media and the things we're pushing out now, that have nothing to do with politics or anything that have anything to do with whether you're wearing a mask or not are now implementing wearing masks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it was funny because I seen a post recently. I don't know if it was on Instagram or what, but it was like, imagine like 5 years from now or something, and it's like, and you pull out an old jacket or a pair of jeans or something, and you reach in your pocket and you find a mask. Like, you know how people say that with like money these days? And then you'd look back and be like, wow, like what a crazy time.
I'm going to burn all my masks the second they say no more masks. So I will not be finding any of them. I have yet to purchase a mask. I refuse to give money to these people. So
I had to buy one though, but that's because for like the military, I had to have a certain standard of color mask for the uniform that I'd be wearing. So like when I wore my alphas or whatever, I had to have a white mask. And then
no, not me.
In my normal like everyday uniform, I need a black mask or like a non-graphic design mask, I guess, because I can wear a white mask with that one as well. But
yeah, that makes sense. But no, I either use my work masks that they give me or all the disposables that I don't buy. I just leech off people every time I see a disposable mask dispense. Grab.
That's true. It's weird though, because it's like some masks are cooler than other masks.
Oh, 100%.
And so not that I'd want to go out and spend money, but like, for example, when I went out for my birthday or whatever, and we went to all these nice places and then ended up going on a booze cruise, like, it does not look as cool to be the person wearing the disposable mask than it would be to, like, if I'm wearing a nice fancy black button-up, to have my, like, a cool black looking mask.
Yeah,
I don't want to say it's like a fashion statement, because that's not the reason you get a mask. But it looks so much better than the little medical disposable thing.
It is such a fashion statement, though, because literally the center of your face is consumed by a piece of fabric. So it's like, even if it doesn't match, it wildly stands out.
Well, that's what's wild about this, too. So I never knew how much your brain, like, auto-corrects things. So I got a new person come into my shop or my work environment. And when they came in, obviously I've only ever seen them with a mask on. Because the policy, we're working in like a cubicle type office space or whatever, so everyone's got to be wearing masks. We're too close, you know? So I'd only ever seen this person with a mask. Now, granted, you can't eat food with a mask on. You know what I mean? Like, they allow you to take your mask off to drink water or eat food. But somehow I had gone like at least a month without seeing this person without their mask. And I had created what this person's face from the nose down looked like. Like, based off of the other, I don't know, I guess context clues that I had.
Yep.
And when the mask came off, wildly different. Like, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this person looks like that? Which is so weird. Because not only, like, weird. I don't know, it was just so weird. Not that it was strange, but it was not what my brain had created. And I don't know how my brain created that. Like, I guess I was just like, this is what this person's face is supposed to look like. And how much of a difference just this can be.
Yeah.
Like, because that's not very much. It's really only your mouth. I don't know.
No, that happened in speech class. Like, the first couple of weeks we just were lecturing, and so we didn't ever get to see his face. There's only like 12 people in the class. Like, the girl I was sitting next to, I created a bottom mask under vision of what it was, and then she took it off. I was like, well, I was wrong. That's not what, like, it's just, it was weird. I was like I looked at it, I was like, what? Like, what's going on? That's not who I thought you were. But, so, it's crazy. Crazy times.
Yeah, it's like a new person.
Definitely.
Ugh.
Alright, Joey, what is the most exciting thing that we've done together in our 10, 11 years?
Exciting thing we've done together? I would say skydiving with you.
Yeah.
Dang.
I don't know. What would you say?
I wrote down skydiving.
Okay.
I was thinking about that the other day, and that was incredible. Like, I have to do that again.
Go ahead, Tag.
I was just going to say, I've been wanting to go for so long. Like,
you gotta go.
Dude, I know. I had it planned too, and then COVID.
Yeah.
Like COVID ruined that because they canceled it.
Yeah,
We're gonna
Tate
go
and
to
I had it
Hawaii,
planned.
and we're gonna probably go with you and get
Yep.
it like videoed, but COVID. Yep.
Yeah, we were gonna go, but that whole like week. So Tate and I had a big summer senior trip planned for this summer to go to Hawaii, see you Tag, see my grandma because she lives there, and just like blow it out of the water, like do jet skis, snorkels, skydiving, hiking, like the full Hawaiian like fun experience, all that good stuff. And then COVID happened. Obviously, can't get in Hawaii, so we this summer pivoted and did a road trip up through Oregon and California. That whole trip. I thought that was one of my favorite times you and I have ever had. But it was insane. We went skydiving in like Sonoma Valley in wine country. It was so pretty. We drove up the entire US 1, up the coast of California, went to the redwoods, went to Oregon to Crater Lake. Like that was an insane trip.
We spent like $20 to drive under a tree.
At the redwoods or something.
Stupidest thing ever. You literally drive under it, sit there, look around, you're like, okay, nice. Drive through, and there's a gift shop, and you're out on your way. We're like, gosh dang it.
But so, did you guys have like a game plan going into this, like knowing you were gonna skydive, knowing you wanted to hit the redwoods, or was this like a spontaneous like, as we're on the way, like it would be sweet to go skydiving, like hey, we should stop by the redwoods?
So I think for skydiving, because Tate, I was there for my sister's wedding.
Yes, right? And then we drove your other sister down to San Francisco.
So was the wedding first or was the wedding later?
First.
First. Okay, so I came down for my sister's wedding, stayed with Tate, and then I think like maybe like 3 days before we left on this road trip, we kind of sat down and planned it out, didn't we?
A little bit, because we had like ideas of like what we might want to do.
Yeah, because we had like there was no concrete plan. So it was like I think it was like I want to say even like a day before we left, I was like, hey Tate, do you want to go skydiving? Like let's do it. He's like, we'll find a place, we'll drop my sister off and we'll do it. He's like, yeah, okay, I'm down. So we looked it up. I called him, made reservations. So then we literally left at like 2 a.m. I drove till
2 a.m.
At 2 a.m. we had to drop my sister off in San Francisco, which is 3 hours away from where you guys live.
Yeah.
Dropped her off for her like 7 a.m. flight, and then we literally drove up. It was like an hour to the coast. We drove to the coast, right? Am I saying this right? Or no? We stayed in Sonoma.
Well, it was pretty close to the coast, but we drove up like an hour and a half, something like that.
Yeah. To the skydive place, and like 30 minutes outside the skydive place, we parked the car and took a nap. I was exhausted, so I got in the back seat.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I took a nap for it was like a 45-minute nap. Then we drove to the skydive place. Show up. Super nice guys. Skydived. We took this little janky plane. The pilot was like 85 years old, about to have a heart attack. I was like, who's letting this guy fly right now? And took this janky plane. The four of us sitting in the back, I was sweating my tail off because it was hot in there. Took like a 20-minute plane ride to that sucker, got up to altitude, and then jumped out. And
crazy. So this is coming from someone who's never been skydiving, but like, how long did that experience last? Like from jumping out of the plane to where...
Yeah.
Well, I guess you pull the parachute and it's still fun, you're falling. But I guess, how long did the free fall feel like?
I think it's a 60-second free fall, right, Tate? It was either 60 or 30, but it's a long free fall.
Probably 30. Like, I don't think it was 60. That's pretty far.
I was going to say, that's more than I thought you would get.
Yeah, it's like a 30-second... Okay, we'll call it 30. It was a 30-second free fall, which is great. Because we jumped 13,000 feet, right? Yeah, 30-second free fall, and then you pull the chute, and you probably glide for 5 down to the ground. It's an insane 30 seconds. The first 10 are... The first 5 are, oh my god, what is happening? Oh my god, what is happening? Next 5 are, okay, get my bearings. And then the last 20 is like, this is so sick. Like, I'm having the time of my life. At least that's what it was for me.
Dang. Yeah. And where did you do this at? Like, because this was on your road trip?
Yeah, we found a place outside of San Francisco. It's right, so from the plane, we could see Sonoma Lake. And so it's right over Sonoma Valley, which is like wine country. So like Napa Valley area. So we saw a bunch of vineyards. It was really pretty, I thought.
Okay, but that's going down or like going south, not north, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because
we went west because we were headed towards the coast. It might have gone a little south, but.
Okay, because I was going to say that would have been a crazy thing to do for Elijah's bachelor party.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been.
Definitely.
Like, because that was so fun, but we did a very similar thing. Like, we didn't really have a plan, but we kind of went on, like, a road trip, you know? So we went everywhere from our cabin up to, like, paintballing in Oregon, like, literally right next to our grandparents, like, 20 minutes outside of where our grandparents were.
When Texas doesn't have a plan, that means we literally were in the car driving to pick up people, and we're like, let's switch the plans and go to Vegas. Like, that's how little of a plan we had. It was like, get on the phone, find a hotel, see if we have to fly or we're gonna drive this.
Well, and then that was not our fault. Like, we need to get Elijah on the podcast one day to talk about this, but that's because this man would pass so much misinformation. Like, he was like, no, I'm good. Like, the wedding was what? Like, Saturday? And he's like, I don't have to be back till Friday night. And we're like,
it was like a Tuesday we left.
Yeah, are you sure you don't have to be back till Friday night? He's like, dude, I've already talked it over. Like, I've talked to Allie. Don't have to be back till Friday night. And he's like, let's go to Vegas. And I'm like, well, we kind of got to, like, yeah, we might have had a little plan, but we got to appease the bachelor, you know? And I was like, this guy's talking about Vegas. So we're looking into renting in a van. Like, we're getting everything to go there. We
made all the calls. All the calls.
He calls us back. He's like, guys, I can't do it. Like, I got to be back Wednesday. And we're like, what? And I was like, did you talk to Allie? And then she was like, yeah. And I was like, I knew it. Because I was like, guaranteed. I'm like, there's a rehearsal dinner. There's like all this other stuff. And when I brought it up to him in the beginning, he's like, no, we're good. We don't got to be back till Friday.
Typical lie. She's like, no, it's fine.
Typical lie. End of the bachelor party, like, we get back. Bro, it's at his grandma's house and nothing is ready. Like, this is the guy who said we need to be back Friday night for the wedding Saturday morning. We get there on Wednesday. We're chopping down trees. We're putting them in the wood chipper. We're spreading out, like, the ground. We're hanging the lights. Yeah, we're literally bringing all the chairs, all the table. Like, nothing was done. And he was like,
not a single thing.
Friday night. Like,
clearing land, like, moving the altar, like, covering things.
Oh, yeah. There was so much work to be done. I'm so glad.
You, like, raked and shoveled, like, a 10 by 10 yard section of just crap out of the way to smooth it out, day before, like at 4 p.m.
It was crazy. It turned out beautiful. It worked really nice. I'm so happy for him. So that was awesome. And the ATVs, that was fun. Going to the sand dunes.
That was insane.
That was wild.
The first 5 minutes, that was fun.
That's right. This is right before you left too. Like, you could not afford to get injured.
I was like, I'm going to basic training in a week and a half. Let's go drive ATVs on the coast.
Well, not that was a bad idea. Well, and they give you 4 warnings about, like, hey, there's sudden drops and there's other things, like, be careful. I don't even think yours was that. You were going up the side, right? And, like, your tires came off or something and you flipped and rolled is what it sounded like.
So I drove up to this little hill and was like, oh, this is cool. I'm up here on the hill. Oh, I'm going to go down, like, the ridge of the hill now. So I started driving. I don't know. I must have hit a bump or something. Because I was driving down the hill, hit a bump, and that's when, like, my tire came off the rim or something, and it flipped me sideways tumbling down the hill.
Yeah, because your whole rubber was gone. Like, so I'm out and around trying to get my bearings of this place because it's massive, you know? And so I'm driving around. There's other ATVs going around. I can't tell who's a part of our group and who's not. So I come over this ridge or whatever, and I see one going this way, and I see, like, the crash site or whatever, but I can't instantly tell that something's wrong. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go check out what happened. So I drive over there, and the instructor guy is there, and then you're there, and the tires are gone. Like off of this ATV. Like, the tires don't even exist. And we're less than 15 minutes into our like 2 hour rental.
We're less than 5 minutes into this.
Less than 5?
It was like after they explained everything and was like, all right, and then we drove around for like 5 minutes and then it happened.
Wow. So
the funny thing is, while Tate did that, I flipped mine and rolled it. And so Tate's getting his fix. I'm like, don't. As long as the instructors are looking, I shoved mine back over.
Because you have to pay a fine for rolling the ATV. Mm-hmm. So like they're occupied over here with Tate, like trying to fix his stuff, and Joey's like, "Quick, I gotta go, get it back, get it back."
Literally rolled mine, flipped it back over, and acted like nothing happened. I broke my flag, my pole fell off, and then my whole like HUD unit like was off the side.
Oh. And so, like, I don't know why. But for some reason, we're all going around, and I'm like, I want to do something wild. And I see everyone go up this hill, and then you lose them. And then I'm like, okay, so everyone's following, but they're going real slow. And so I'm waiting. I'm the second to last in line. Joey's behind me. So Joey's the only one behind me. You wait a good 5 seconds, and then you see the ATV come up the other side of the hill. So you know, it's not a crazy drop-off, but there is a peak, you know? And so I'm sitting here, and I kind of turn around. And I look at Joey or whatever, and I floor it. I go, boom, I get airborne. Like, I'm going, and I'm trying to stay, like, I needed to clench my knees or something. But, because I stand up, you know, to kind of, like, see what I'm really going to jump. And so I'm already standing. And when I hit this hill, my legs come up over top. So I'm now doing a Superman, like standing vertical, handlebars on the handle, hit the ground. I don't know how much I got. 15 feet of air, something wild. Hit the floor, my face, boom, hits the handlebars, shatters my helmet. Like my whole glass thing, I hit the ground, tumble and roll, and I don't know what your reaction was, but that probably would have been insane to see.
From my perspective, I was like, okay, big hill, slow down, here we go. Tag floors it, goes up, no lie, probably 8 feet off. Like your quad 8 feet off. Yeah. Your whole body comes up and over. You look like you're Superman. I was like, if Nitro Circus is here, he's higher immediately. 100%. And then Buddy crashes into the front of your thing on your handlebars and just ragdolls, and then rolls and then stands up and looks around. He's like, I'm good.
Bro,
I was like,
it was like parkour. Like you see these people jump off the building, land, and like go into a roll and get up.
Oh yeah.
So I got smashed. Thought I broke my nose there for a second. Like the whole helmet's gone. But I
thought you died.
Yeah, tumbled and rolled and just like boop, like popped up. Like what's next?
I for sure thought, I was like, Tag's dead, and he popped up. I was like, oh, he's good. Oh, he's great.
Because the scariest thing is when I knew, like I was trying to, I can't do that, obviously, but I was trying to get my butt back on the seat or whatever, so the whole time I'm in the air, I'm not freaking out that much. The only thing I worried about was once I smashed my face into the ATV, I had one of the big ones. So I was like, I just can't let this thing roll on top of me or crush me. And so that was me popping up so quick.
Yeah.
Like, that was the thing going through my mind is like, I got to get up. This thing can't roll on me.
Oh, yeah.
It was perfectly fine. Like, it, boom, and maybe bounced or something and just rolled. Like, it on its wheels. It didn't tumble or crash or anything like that. So that was good, because I probably could have broke that thing.
That was so funny watching you just ragdoll into the front of your ATV.
And I didn't really know anything was wrong until we start returning all the ATVs. I'm like, oh, crap, don't say anything. My handlebars are down. Like V'd like this. Because my whole weight came down on them, you know?
So. That was a trip and a half.
That was a trip.
Luckily, they were all super nice, the guys who owned the place, and they like didn't charge us too much.
Yeah, no, I barely got charged for destroying that thing.
They charge you like man hours.
Yeah,
like that it was gonna
like
cost
a little bit of money for parts, and then like labor.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was crazy. There's a lot of good stories held here in the group.
Oh, a lot of history. Because people might not know, but we met in 3rd grade, and then Tate, you and I were friends until you left in 7th.
7th grade, yeah, we moved down to LA.
So in 7th grade, these boys moved to LA. I stayed where we lived in California up top till 8th grade, and then I moved to North Carolina, all the way across the country. And then you boys came back to where we lived. So we haven't lived in the same state for. I moved when when I was 12. How old were you? Yeah, 12, 13.
12, something.
Yeah, so we're 19 now. So for like 6 or 7 years, none of us have lived in this, or you boys did.
Yeah, more than half of
our friendship has been across the country, which I think is what's so special about it, and what's at least kept it strong is we've been very intentional about.
Well, yeah, and with the very intentional stuff, like a similar thing that we had done on a smaller scale with like Brayson or Elijah, but you guys would literally take summers out of the year and move to the state someone was in. So, for example, I don't know who went first, but there was a time period where Joey literally lived with our family for a summer, And then next summer, it was like sibling swap. Like Tate went over there, and then Tate was with Joey's family for an entire summer.
Shared custody. So the very first summer I went out there, I was there for like maybe 2 weeks, but then it got extended to 3. I was like, I want to stay longer. So I was out there for 3 weeks. And then the summer after that, I think I came back, right? One more? Or did you come after?
No, I think that's when we did our East Coast trip.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Tate came out, literally lived with my family from like June to like end of July. And then we went we did a ton of stuff that summer. And then the next summer after that, I came back to California, got a job, and stayed from like mid-May to literally mid-August. Just lived at your house and lived with your family. And then Tate, I don't think, what was after that?
The year after that, I came to your house and got a job.
That's right.
Lived there for 3 months.
In my summer, my house for the summer, got a job.
We were all working at Waterworks at that one point, right?
I don't think you were tagged.
I don't think you were. That was
had I already joined the Marines at that point?
You deployed in October, or I went to basic in October. No, July.
No, it was July.
Yeah, so you went in July, so you were just prepping that whole summer leading up, and then left, and then Tate and I had it for the rest of the summer. But yeah, at one point we were all together. That was a summer. I wrote that down as I had summer 2018. Like that was my favorite summer of all the boys because we were all together.
That was a good summer.
It was so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
It was a riot.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm so excited for this. For those of you that don't know, that are tuning in and have made it this far, thank you very much. Hopefully, hopefully you enjoy hearing us talk. But I want to let you know, not only are you going to hear us talk, every other week on this podcast, we're going to bring in a special guest. So the special guests are going to go everywhere from like a really good friend, maybe even a parent. But we have people planned out that I've been in contact with. For example, I don't want to name drop people too early, but like Mr. Gagno is a history teacher that we all shared. We really want him on the podcast. I think it's going to be incredible. As a matter of fact, all 3 of the history teachers I've had, the 2 I've had in high school, like ridiculous stories. Like one did a Life Lesson Tuesday, and every Tuesday, Mr. Porto would tell us about these crazy stories that he'd go on. Like he has a tenure as is at teaching, and every summer or every big break, he'll take his entire block of leave or like vacation schedules that he gets, and he'll take him and his dog in his truck and like go out into the Sahara Desert or something and just like survive. And all the stuff he does, it's wild. So I'd love to get him on. My old fire chief, Bob Price.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, has incredible stories from like being in the group that's like responsible for the investigation of a terrorist bombing or like all these other things. I think it'd be incredible to get some of these people on and ask them these questions. So every other week, which should be the evens. So for our 2nd episode, our 4th episode, our 6th episode, you can expect to have a special guest. And so I think that's going to be really cool to get that in and just get that whole dynamic.
That'll be fun because we'll have fun stories, or the ones we know at least, we'll have fun stories of us as kids that we might not know about each other. So.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And just to pick and pry their brain, you know? So even if it doesn't have to do with us 3, there's so much stuff out there, and the world is so full of people that have so many cool stories that I've recently been loving, like listening to a podcast when I'm driving or when I'm on a run, or because there's so many experiences that you can, I don't want to say share, but that people have to offer, you know?
Oh yeah, my podcast consumption these days, I have at least 3 weekly ones I listen to, if not like, and then I just find 2 others. Like I consume a ton of podcasts per week. I love them.
Yeah. So with that, I think that ends our first inaugural like Three's Company podcast episode. Like we did it. We got it recorded. We're gonna get it put up. I'll make sure to send it out on social medias and stuff as soon as I get it out. And I'm excited for the future.
Shout out to all our friends and family that are listening, because you'll probably be the first to listen to the first.
Yeah, you'll be the first to listen. So
yeah.
Hope you guys enjoy.
All right, and this is Three's Company podcast signing out. Thanks, guys.
See you next week.
See ya.